today I'm going to talk about why commercial pet food is essentially a hoax in a bag and why it should be avoided. And then I will offer some helpful and affordable alternatives of better feeding options for your dogs. So basically, the pet food industry targets consumers who want the best for their dog. Anyone who has a dog wants to be doing the best that they can do to ensure that their dog is happy and healthy. The pet food industry is well aware of that, so they kind of trick customers into thinking that they're buying the best of the best premium dog food. So the industry is able to trick customers in many ways. So first, they do so by spending thousands of dollars on convincing advertisements. On every commercial break on TV, you are definitely bound to see a commercial for pet food. They also get consumers by designing really pretty bags of dog food. When a consumer sees a healthy-looking dog in a bag claiming that their food is the epitome of optimal nutrition, they can't pass it up since obviously they just want to get the best food for their dogs. And then finally, the commercial pet food industry is notorious for making false claims on their bags of food. For example, the industry kind of caught on to how grain-free is like a growing trend in the feeding habits of people because people are starting to catch on that their dogs don't need corn, grains, and a bunch of other fillers. So the industry, they kind of got around that by advertising grain-free food, but instead of using grains as fillers, they're using potatoes, peas, and other legumes, which are proving to be detrimental to people's dogs' health. Dr. Aldrich kind of touched on that on Wednesday when he was talking about that. Some other false claims consist of weight loss food, or as you can see on this pretty bag of Beneful, Playful Life food. I can guarantee you that they all have the same major ingredients. There's not a magic ingredient that makes your dog playful. And I mean, if you're trying to get your dog to lose weight, simply just feed them less of like a high quality kibble that's not loaded with carbs and sugar, because that's what's making the dog fat in the first place. So here's a list of some common ingredients in pet food. Some common fillers include corn, potatoes, and legumes. I really feel like it needs to be stressed that dogs are 99.9% genetically identical to wolves. In the wild, a wolf wouldn't walk into a cornfield and grab a stalk of corn for dinner, so I don't understand why we're feeding them a kibble that's loaded with corn. Next, the little meat that's found in commercial kibble is typically muscle meat and byproducts. Muscle meat is what we eat as humans. Its nutritional value is enough for an omnivorous human, but muscle meat does not have enough nutrients to sustain a dog alone. So going back to how dogs are essentially wolves, when wolves hunt for their food, they kind of go for the core of the animal. That's where like the blood and guts are. That's where all the organs are. So they're going for the nutritionally dense organs. Also, commercial pet food is loaded with byproducts. Those are the parts of the animal that are rendered unfit and hazardous for human consumption. So if somebody wants to be feeding their dog a high quality diet, they should probably opt for something that doesn't have fake meat in it. And then finally, commercial pet foods are often made with dyes. As you can see on that pretty bag of Beneful Play for Life, there are 3 neon colors of kibble. That yellow kibble is made with yellow 5, and that dye requires a warning label in Europe. And then the red kibble, that is red 40, and that dye is known for contributing to a lot of different cancers in dogs. So obviously consumers can do a little bit better when looking for good food for their dog. So in short, dogs need a biologically appropriate diet. As I keep stressing, dogs of all shapes and sizes are genetically a wolf, so they should be fed like a wolf. So here are some just like main principles of biologically appropriate animal nutrition. So first, there should be a high meat content. Then there should be a balanced formulation with fruits, vegetables, and herbs. There should be an appropriate level of vitamins, minerals, and essential nutrients, a low carb inclusion, no grain inclusion, no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives, and then the country of origin sourcing, because you want to know where your food's coming from. So with all that said, I will offer some alternatives on some way better feeding options for dogs. So when choosing an appropriate pet food, there's kind of a hierarchy. While all these options are great, some are just a little bit better than others. So raw is definitely the most natural way of feeding, and it descends to freeze-dried and dehydrated diets, canned food, and kibble. So as I just said, raw feeding is definitely the most natural way of feeding. Raw meat is ideal just because the cooking process kind of cooks out a lot of essential vitamins and minerals. A lot of people are really turned off by the idea of raw meat, but there are actually a lot of great companies that specialize in making balanced raw diets for consumers. so you can ensure that your dog's not going to get sick. So up here's like a super popular brand of food. It's called Raw Bistro. And as you can see by the ingredient panel, it's like the epitome of biologically appropriate. It starts off with organ meat, beef heart, ground beef bone, beef liver, and it just descends to nutritious fruits and vegetables. So then next I have freeze-dried and dehydrated diets. They're almost as good as raw food. They're essentially the same ingredients that would be in a raw diet, but all of the moisture is just sucked out of the ingredients. A lot of people prefer this because it's just more shelf stable, it's easier to prepare. All you do is just add a little bit of warm water in the freeze rehydrated. But as you can see, it's still loaded with organ meat and then fruits and vegetables, which is what dogs need. Next, canned food is a great option for dogs. It's definitely more affordable than raw food or freeze-dried food. So when looking for a canned food, it's essential that you look out for human-grade ingredients. Also, it should contain organ meat, just as the same as the raw food and the freeze-dried food. And as you can see, this has kidney in it, it has liver in it, super good stuff. And then canned food is definitely just more appealing because it's just less processed, it doesn't have as many carbohydrates as kibble. And then finally, kibble is definitely the most popular method of feeding because that's just what people are most accustomed to feeding nowadays. Kibble can be great if it's high quality and fed properly. So when looking for a kibble, the meat must be organ meat, as I keep stressing. The kibble must also be free of harsh, unnecessary fillers like grains, potatoes, corn, legumes, as I keep saying. So the downfalls of kibble is that kibble is extremely dry because it's cooked at super high temperatures. And it kind of just cooks out a lot of the healthy components of the kibble. So to resolve those issues, it's recommended that a kibble is supplemented with a fish oil. This ensures that the dog is getting all the necessary omegas and fatty acids. It's really just good for like cognitive development, healthy skin and coat, good for inflammation, good for dogs with allergies. Also, it's recommended that a digestive enzyme is supplemented into the kibble. It really just ensures that like all the food is absorbed by the dog and it kind of just helps in the digestion process. Finally, probiotics should be supplemented into the dog's food. Probiotics just help with giving the dog like a healthy range of bacteria in the gut. Good gut health is the root of a dog's overall health. So like personally, I use like a fermented goat's milk or a cow's kefir on my dog's food just to get good bacteria. Stores also offer powdered probiotics and digestive enzymes are just easier to feed. And then also, I said kibble is very dry, so I recommend adding warm water to your dog's kibble every meal. A study has proven that a dog that eats plain dry kibble his entire life lives his whole life dehydrated because his water source alone isn't enough to compensate for that dry kibble. So I worked at a holistic pet boutique for 3 years. Like I have seen the results of simply just changing your dog's diet. I've had customers come in at their wit's end because their dog's hair is falling out because they're suffering from allergies or they have kidney problems, and just simply altering their diet to maybe something raw or freeze-dried, like I said. After a few months, all those issues are completely alleviated. And those are my sources.
Okay. Yes, questions, comments from the audience, because this is like a big black box feeding dogs. So we'll probably have to just do a couple and then go on to Sophia. But Madison, you can point to people if you want.
Yes. I don't have a question, but I mean, me and Rob were just looking at this stuff on Thursday after class, and we discovered that if you are looking at ingredients on a food, they list them from most prevalent to least prevalent, but it's by weight. So one of the things that we saw was that you should look for, you should never want to see the word byproduct.
Absolutely.
If you're looking at like beef versus beef meal, or like chicken versus chicken meal, chicken includes the 60% water that is included in the food, whereas chicken meal is only allowed to have 10% moisture. So you would rather see chicken meal as the #1 ingredient than chicken or chicken breast or something like that.
Yeah,
which
just
is
more concentrated in protein. Like meal's not a bad word for sure.
Right,
but it's an advertising gimmick that they try to put like chicken
yeah.
breast,
yeah.
when actually that's a cheaper
Online.
way of them getting that to the top of the list.
Yeah.
Well, all these companies, they're in the business to make money, and if they can't make about
Exactly.
20% on their investment, they won't do it. So somebody else, Olivia, did you have some?
Yeah, I do actually have a question. So I wanted to switch my dog to a raw diet, but if
Yeah.
I'm like trying to feed a 120-pound Great Dane,
Mhm.
like, how's that not gonna get expensive?
It's definitely expensive. I have a Belgian Malinois and a little cockapoo. I try to just like I'll alternate meals. Like one meal I'll feed them kibble and I'll kind of just like sprinkle a little bit of like a freeze-dried dinner morsel on it. And like another meal I'll feed raw. Like I just like to incorporate some raw. Obviously on my college student budget, like I can't afford raw either, but some is
Oh,
better
there's,
than
yeah,
none.
there's definitely pros and cons to the
yeah,
raw.
for
I mean,
sure.
What kibble do you recommend?
Right now I feed Stella and Chewy's raw coated kibble. It's like your traditional like morsel of kibble, and then it has like a freeze-dried coating of raw food, so you're kind of getting a little bit of raw incorporated in there. And then I also feed like primal raw dinner patties as well.
mhm.
But like I've noticed insane results with my dogs. Like my Belgian Malinois used to have really bad allergy issues. Once I switched his diet, he doesn't even shed.